All right, this is the Inquiry Lab, and you are going to learn a little bit about what absolute value means. All right, so let's start. We're going to read the inquiry problem at the top, and it starts with hot air balloons. So it says, several hot air balloons are flying at the same height. Oop, I'm sorry, let me scroll out. The dashed line below represents their starting point. Which two balloons move the same distance but in opposite directions? All right, so in this diagram below, it says +8 means balloon A climbed 8 feet. So see how this is where it started, this dashed line, so it climbed 8 feet. And -10 means balloon B moved down 10 feet. So down is negative, up is positive. All right, now going down below, it says, use the diagram to compare the distance each balloon moved. Complete the chart to compare the distance each balloon moved from the dashed line. So you're going to do D and E on your own in a second, but until then, let's show you what we mean. So balloon C, its integer is 0, because see how it's at the starting point? And the direction, it didn't move, so there was no direction, and the distance moved was 0 feet. All right. Now balloon D and E you're going to fill out. So D moved +10 is the integer. And you have to tell me the direction, either up or down, and the distance it moved in feet. And balloon E, you'll do that as well. So pause the video and do just this table here. Restart it when you are done. Go. Okay, so let's see what you got. First off, balloon D, the integer is +10, so that means it went up and it moved 10 feet. Okay? Now balloon E, its integer is -15, which means it moved down. Now this is the part that you might have got tricked on. The distance it moved was 15 feet, not -15. Remember, the negative only means it went down. But as far as how far it moved 15 feet. Doesn't matter whether it went down, up, sideways, it moved 15 feet. So make sure that you don't have a -15 there. All right. Now, in step 2, it says determine which two balloons move the same distance away from the dashed line. So you have to decide, so balloon blank and balloon blank moved blank feet from the dashed line. So find the two that move the same. Pause the video. When you have those 3 boxes filled in, restart it and see if you were right. Okay, so hopefully when you were doing this, you saw that balloon B and balloon D moved the same distance. So the answer should be B and D, and they both moved 10 feet from the dash line. Now remember, B did move down and D did move up, but they still both moved 10 feet. So this is kind of the idea of what absolute value is. It's going to be how far, example, something moved. And notice when we had a +10, it moved 10 feet. When we had a -15, it still moved 15 feet. So that's one of the things about absolute value we'll talk about. Now, on to the previous page. I'm going to highlight it in yellow right here, if you can see that. This is 0. 0 represents the starting distance of the balloons before they either went up or down. 0 is where the balloons started. In the problems at the top, you have number 2 and number 3. I'll highlight them here because a lot of people don't see number 2. It says use the number line to determine the distance between each integer and 0. So basically, in 1, I want to know how far the -2 is away from 0. And in problem 2, I want to know how far the +3 is from 0. So write down your 2 answers. You could pause the video, and when you're ready to go, hit play and see if you were right. Go. All right. So let's check it out. The integer -2 is 2 units away from 0, so it is 2 away. Now the 3 is 1, 2, 3, is 3 units away from 0. Notice both answers are positive because we're just saying how far away the integer was from 0. The only difference between negative and positive is if it was negative, it was to the left 2 spaces. If it's positive, it was to the right 2 spaces. So just so you know, this is what absolute value is. It's how far away a number is from 0 on a number line. All right, now let's go down to the table below. So 3 through 8. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you number 3. We'll go over the example, and then you and your partner are going to fill out the rest. Or if you're doing this by yourself, you're going to do this by yourself. So in this one, the integer 3, distance between integer and 0 is 3. Its opposite, the opposite of 3 is a negative 3. And the distance between the opposite integer and 0. So how far away is negative 3 from 0 is 3. So let's go over 4 real quick. So the integer 4. Now picture it, if you're stuck, you can always go up and look at this number line on top here, which I'm cleaning up. So I'll show you with this one here. So the integer 4. So here is 4. Here is 0. How far away is it from 0? It is 4 units away. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Now, the opposite of 4 is a negative 4. So I'm going to put that on the number line in red. And the distance between the opposite integer and 0, well, that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 away. So notice whether the integer was positive or negative, they were both 4 away from 0. So now, here is your job. You are going to do 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. You're going to fill out the table here. And when you're done, restart the video. I'll go through those kind of quickly when you're done. Go. All right, so let's see. Now, in number 4, the integer 7 is 7, oops, that's the highlighter, sorry about that, is 7 units from 0. The opposite of 7 is negative 7. And negative 7 is also 7 units from 0. It's just to the left. So for 5, negative 11 is 11 units from 0. It's just 11 to the left. The opposite of negative 11 is a positive 11. And a positive 11 is also 11 units to the left, or to the right. So, in number 6, negative 13 is 13 units away from 0. The opposite of negative 13 is a positive 13, and it is also 13 units away from 0. All right, number 7, 19 is 19 units from 0. Its opposite is negative 19, and how far away is a negative 19 from 0? It's 19 units away, just to the left. And the last one, we have negative 21. It is 21 units from 0. The opposite of negative 21 is a positive 21. And a positive 21 is also 21 units from 0. Now here is the one thing I want you to notice, because this is important. These numbers, the distance from 0, are always positive. You see that? There are no negatives in those columns. So even if the integer is negative, it's still a positive distance away from 0. So now, here's the last thing we're going to do. In number 9 and number 10, we're going to work on those. You do not have to do number 11, so don't worry about that one. Number 9, it says, what can you conclude about the distance from 0 for both an integer and its opposite? So I kind of answered this for you, so I'll kind of write that down. The distance from 0 is always blank. What do you think goes in that? The distance from 0 is always positive. All right? Doesn't matter. The only difference is if it's a negative integer, it's to the left of 0. If it's a positive integer, it's to the right of 0. Now number 10. This is one you're going to do on your own. It says the movement of balloon B in the investigation was represented by the number negative 10. What does the 0 represent in this situation? So I want you to write a sentence telling me what the 0 represents in this situation. Now you can always go back and look at the diagram on the previous page and see what you think the 0 represents. Pause the video, write your answer, go. All right, let's see what you got. So the 0 represents If I were to go, so you should have that. It doesn't have to be in my exact words, but should be somewhat close. 0 represents where the balloons, oops, I spelled balloons wrong, started. All right, so that's it for this video. So please check your paper to see what else you might have to do. Thanks for watching.